Akpor's career is pretty like subpar in terms of opponents. His best friend's probably like a Glowacki, who had coming off a long layoff and 2 concussive knockout losses.
Charlotte Daly of MailSport Boxing. We're joined by Lawrence Okolie. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Good. Well, there's been a lot of change recently. It's been Dubai to Manchester, lots of new change. But actually, it all kind of started in Hackney for you, where you grew up. What was that like?
It depends what age and what stage you're talking about. Obviously, it was great, full of culture. Everyone that, grew up on my road, we're all still friends now. Obviously, at that time in the 90s, I feel like I'm old now, but in the 90s and early 2000s, obviously it was very rough. There was a lot of gang culture and stuff like that. But now, there's a lot of gentrification and stuff like that. So how was it? Yeah, it was good in parts and tough in parts.
You said there about the gang culture. What was it like growing up around that? Were you ever in situations where they were trying to get you to join, or were you trying to stay away? What was the situation?
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough situation. I think, like I said, growing up where I grew up and whatever, you end up either being friends with people that are fully involved, or you end up finding yourself in certain situations if you're not careful. And stuff happens, but fortunately, whether it's boxing, whether it's my parents, whatever else, I managed to, not get arrested or anything like that. So we're all good.
Didn't get sucked into
it. Didn't get.
You did find boxing, but before that, you had other career paths. You were working at McDonald's for a little while before you transitioned into boxing. How did that come about, and what was the path from there to boxing?
Working at McDonald's, I was trying to get other jobs everywhere else, and nowhere was giving me a job. So McDonald's, I went interviewed, got the job there. I actually quite enjoyed working there at the time, even though I enjoyed working there. And with boxing, my first taste of boxing, obviously I was having fights in school, and then there was a particular boxer who was at an amateur club that was in my same class, and he saw me have a fight. He saw this particular fight, and he's just like, I see you fight all the time. I need you to just come down to the boxing gym. And I was heavy and stuff like that, and he's just like, you lose weight, you do whatever, I'll just come down. So I went down, gave the first session. I loved it. I said, oh, this is cool, because I never did any sports growing up, and I had dealt with bullying. The whole feeling of like the team camaraderie, like, come on, like, you got 10 push-ups, do it, and other people told you accountable helped. But then obviously at the same time I was working at McDonald's, and then it was during the 2012 Olympics. I was working a particular break, and I was already aware of Anthony Joshua and Luke Campbell and all these people, but the Olympics was such a big thing, and it was in London. It was everywhere. You know what I mean? So having the likes of Usain Bolt in the country and all the top athletes, it kind of captivated. And even in the McDonald's. Sorry if I'm rambling. Even in the McDonald's, there was like little toys that came with it, like for the different sports. And then I was hunting, and I kept buying Happy Meals to try to get the what do you call it, the boxing one. Anyway, but they're so rare, it's so hard to find. But anyway, I found one. Anyway, there was a particular lunch break that I was on, and in that same one, Anthony Joshua won Olympic gold, and Usain Bolt won like one of the races. I can't remember which one it was, and I was just like, nah. Like looking at myself in the office, and I was just like, nah. It was the staff room, and I was like, I want to do this. And because I'd had a bit of an altercation with the manager that day, it just felt easy to just go and say, you know what, I don't think I want to do this no more. And we just cancelled the rest of my shifts, and I just cracked on 100% with boxing training, and then yeah.
Wow. And if you didn't see that fight with Anthony Joshua, do you think you would have stayed in that job? Do you think that your life would be on a completely different career path to what it is now?
You never know. I definitely wouldn't have quit that day. I know that, but maybe I would have done it a different way. I don't know. It would have been. It wouldn't. I don't know. I like to believe that a lot of stuff happens for a reason, and that I happened to have a break that particular time, and he happened to have that fight, and Usain Bolt happened to. So it was just like it was a community. Like it was a. You know what I mean? A knock-on effect. So yeah, definitely. I think potentially it would have been a completely different life.
It's quite daunting, though, walking away from the familiar into kind of the unknown. And as you said, you hadn't really done sports growing up and you hadn't done a lot of boxing at that point. What was life like immediately after quitting that job and the grind that it took to start building those steps to eventually go into the Olympics?
I have to shout out to my mum, definitely, because she was very supportive, the money I was getting from McDonald's and stuff was helping with little things, but she just kind of, crack on, give it a go. And this was before any sort of money would come in from it. So until I got into the GB team, they give you like a sort of a retainer to help you train. But for the years building up to that, so from 2012 to like 2015, I was just training, fighting. I just kept believing I'm going to get to the Rio Olympics. Just kept believing, but there was no real reason why I should have believed, because I'd never had an international fight. I'd never won the national title. I just believed in Hackney. Like, yeah, trust me, I'm going. And then it got to end of 2015, and then fortunately, I got into the GB team, and then, that helped.
You said a minute ago about the fact that it kind of changed your mindset and you dealt with bullying and stuff growing up. What was that experience like, and how did finding boxing and this new training regime kind of change you as a person?
Oh, it was tough, obviously just being timid or sort of accepting, bullies and so on and so forth. And that was definitely probably the toughest period of my life that I can remember. In that aspect, so yeah, it was. I said it's never nice to get bullied, and it was like physical. It was year after year after year, and it was tough. Yeah, definitely. But I think obviously with getting into boxing and various other stuff, it sort of changed my mindset and kind of taught me to. You don't need to. I don't want to promote violence, like whatever. But you stick up for yourself, however, and bullies stop bullying.
Do you think now, because you've been so successful and you had that beginning to life, that you almost feel a pressure to be a role model or show that you can come from these surroundings and this way and then create things and opportunities for yourself?
Obviously I don't feel pressure. It's just I feel my sort of thing is just by me just living my life, just trying my best. So don't actively go out and try to say to be like me or whatever. I just try to show, instead of a role model, I'm more of like a reference, like okay, what happens if you dedicate yourself, or what happens if you believe in yourself, or you take risks? This is an opportunity that could happen, or because there's references of the opposite. In my area, loads of my people, whatever, jail or worse. So those are a reference of what happens if potentially you go down the wrong path. So it just gives people something to look at and just make their own sort of decisions.
Mm-hmm. And you did make it to the Olympic Games. What was it like kind of finding out that you had been selected and that the hard work, the dreams had kind of paid off and you were going?
Yeah, no, it was obviously you have to qualify. So they actually sent me there as just like experience. I'll just go and just see what happens. And I ended up winning the tournament to go to the Olympics. So when I won the fight, that I knew if I won this fight, I'm going to the Olympics. Yeah, that was a great moment. I'll be honest, because as I said, it was so unexpected. Because I got into the Great Britain team in November 2015, and the Olympics was the next year. So to get on the team, never had any international fights, and qualify for the Olympics in April, winning the tournament, it was like never heard of. It was like for me, I believed I was going to win. I was just like, easy. But then the reality of making it happen is a different thing. So I was over the moon. My mum, we were all over the moon, you know what I mean? But I think that was a good lesson for me in the sense of don't be happy to be here. I think that's kind of how I felt with the Olympics. I was obviously over the moon to qualify and get there, but I think it kind of put me into like a, oh my God, I did it. Like there's Usain Bolt walking in there, and there's like I was just happy to be in and around it as opposed to like locked in. But yeah, it's good.
That's what I was going to say. What is it like being in an Olympic village? I know your games was slightly different to traditional Olympic games, but what is it like just walking around and seeing these stars and knowing that you're on par with them? You're all competing at the same tournament, the Olympic Games.
Yeah, no, it was Yeah, it was crazy because, as I said, the year before, the same time the year before, I was in Hackney at my mum's house, just like I said, never had an international fight. So the next year I was in the Olympics. So it was quite surreal, as I said, and I was and I'm a fan of all of these guys. So when you see, I don't want to get it wrong, Andy Murray or Tim Henman, Andy Murray, when you see these guys, whatever, it's just like, oh my God, I watched them on TV and you're just. It was like I said, I was just a fan running around the Olympic, and then there was free food, free drinks. Yeah, it was great.
And what was it like then transitioning into the professional ranks, having been with Team GB?
Oh, it was easy because I'd only been there for a year, as I said. But how was it? Yeah, it was cool, man. It was cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the transition. Obviously, there was a lot of pressure because I was an Olympian. I was the first one to turn over, and it's you don't get a reset. So with amateurs, you reset when you turn pro, and it's like, okay, this is your new record. With professionals, it's like you get one chance to try and get to the top, and it's usually about momentum. So I was thinking, oh my God, what if I lose my first fight? Oh my God, what if I lose my second fight? What if? Do you know what I mean? And then I just kind of grew into it, and we went from there.
There is that pressure with losing the O. It's something that everyone talks about. Do you think that is the pressure that's associated with it? Do you think that is too much? Do you think that fighters potentially try and navigate their careers based on keeping that O? Or
yes and no. I think obviously there's something nice about being undefeated, and it creates a mystique, and it creates a who can actually do it. So I do understand why it's nice to have, but then at the same time, a lot of fighters miss out on great opportunities because of being scared to lose. So as I said, with my whole career, I've never been like one that's been afraid to lose or take a hard fight. As I said, going back to the Olympics, I went in with champions and top level fighters at that stage with no experience, and then I managed to get to Olympics and I had that experience. And when I turned pro, I kept the same energy, and then I won on the British, Commonwealth, European and world title because I wasn't afraid to take hard fights. So for me personally, I feel like it's good to understand and respect each fighter and wanting to win and stay undefeated, but then at the same time not at the expense of pushing yourself or taking that chance to actually accomplish something, because there's several fighters that from my time, and obviously I'm still going, who are undefeated but they've never boxed anyone or never had the opportunity to win certain titles. So you can have the undefeated record, but you also want to have some sort of tangible accolades or I went and I did this. So it's a mix.
Yeah, having that credibility of names associated with your record as well. Before we can look forward to your fight coming up, I want to talk about the last fight with Chris Billam-Smith. You've had some time to kind of reflect on it, think about it. What is your analysis now of your performance in that fight?
Should have been better, could have been better. That's pretty much it. Obviously, I've done my soul searching and my analysing of the fight and stuff, but it's a lot of small technical changes. Obviously, moving up in weight is probably going to be a great help. We'll find out on my next fight. And I think just, unfortunately in that fight, I think I fell into somebody else's story. So with obviously me and Chris, we know each other. Shane, he's coach. And I think that Bournemouth, his hometown, and I knew how much it meant to him. And it's weird, because I wanted to win for my own life and stuff like that. But it's I kind of got lost in all of that whole, I don't know how to explain that, but it's so I feel like there's lots of little things, but it's calm.
A lot of people beforehand were obviously making a narrative out of the fact that you were stable mates and you'd sparred together and things like that. Do you think that, obviously not consciously, subconsciously, you underestimated him, having been in sparring with him, and you almost knew what you were going to get? But then...
I think so. I think it's a mixture of two things. So obviously with my style, it's very hard for people to deal with it if you've never met me before or experienced it. When you're in the ring, it's very hard to deal with because it's long, it's powerful. It's okay now. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So it's hard for people to really gauge. But obviously we've done so many rounds. He and Shane would understand this what he's going to do, this what that. So it was a little bit I couldn't bamboozle them the way that I bamboozle most people. And I think, yeah, as I said, even just like to how I felt before the fight, it's weird because I don't want to say I was underestimating, but I was just in a mode of like, yeah, just another day in the office. Let me just wrap my hands and go out and just knock some guy out. Well, I know, but then I kind of didn't realize how much it meant to Chris, how much it meant to the fight. Like, do you know what I mean? So when I was fighting him, it felt different. Obviously, sparring and fighting is always going to be different, but there was a sort of energy where I always felt like, even with getting knocked down or whatever else, I always felt I'm gonna break him. Like when I really step on it, I'll break him. But you know, he showed a lot of grit and resilience as well. So yeah, like I said, with that one, it's one of those ones where there's a lot of stuff I could have done better technically, like decision making, not holding. So I think I did lose the fight myself and in points deductions and stuff like that. But you know, as I said, lessons learned.
Yeah, it was the first loss of, professional career. I always wonder, it goes back to that losing the O sort of thing. How did you deal with that mentally? What was kind of the days after the fight like for you?
Oh, the days after were tough because, it was setting into the reality of it, as opposed to like, because I believed I had a rematch the next, I was just like, I'm gonna batter him. And then I was like, as soon as I left the ring, because I never left saying, this guy's amazing. What on earth? So I left like, oh man, damn. Like I was more gutted with myself than like he was amazing or anything like that. So I always thought to myself, don't worry, rematch. I'm gonna get you out of there. So I kind of had that to think about. But then the reality of like, oh man, I lost. Damn. Like it was like that for a couple of days. But then after that, I kind of just locked in on like, all right, cool, don't worry. When he's eye heals, we're gonna get him. But obviously, when that didn't happen, it was just like, okay, fair enough. We'll just go a different route.
Yeah, on to the next task. Now, there has been a lot of change since that fight. As I said, you've come back from Dubai. You're in Manchester.
Yeah.
What's that like, the change of scenery, the change of environment? You've obviously gone from Sugar to Joe now. How is this camp feeling in comparison to before?
It's very physical, very like gritty, and like it's forcing me to kind of work hard. Obviously, I had some time off, but it's like forcing me to like punch and work and go to those different zones that I don't usually go to because I'm good at just like dictating the pace of a fight for 12 rounds. I'll sort of coast it. Here I'm not allowed to coast this. Small ring, work, swap sparring partners, work. So all times I'm working in like in a hard zone. So hopefully that translates on fight night. When it does get hard and whatever else, I have other options as opposed to like smothering or doing little technical things to slow the pace down of the fight. So I actually know I'm gonna go up here and let's see if you can handle it. So yeah, we'll see.
One of the interesting comments that Shay McGuigan said before the Chris Billam-Smith fight was that you spar incredibly well, and he said that you got the better of Chris in sparring, but then struggled to translate on fight night. Do you feel that this link up with Joe now is getting that sparring element, now how to translate it more into the fight? Do you think?
I think so. But then, at the same time, I do think obviously I became a world champion and won all those fights for a reason. So I can obviously translate a bit of it to fight night. But in terms of this, I do think one part of that I do think is true is in sparring, no one wants to, people don't get me to that stage where it's like fight night, because I can hit hard and slow it down, and I won't choose to go to the red zone. I'll choose, okay, you're okay with being in this. So the sparring, it's like people hardly catch me with punches. It's very easy. But on fight night, they've got so much to gain that they throw all of that out the window and go 100%. So I think that creates different stuff that you don't see. So for example, if you're a footballer and you do drills every day and you get the ball and you do like a skill and get past this guy and it's comfortable in training, but on the day, they mean it, their fans mean it, they're coming in with a slide tackle. But if you're not used to that slide tackle, it's like, oh, hold on, I'm used to like us taking it, whoa, this is, it does create, like now you have to think on the fly, what do I do now? And the problem I think I had is that I was only experiencing that on fight nights. So one fight night, the guy would let me do it and I'll knock him out. The next fight night, the guy would do something. So it's like, I have to sort of get repetitions of being in those same situations and being comfortable. So that's what I think has been good here, because it's every day. I'm in the gym. I'm forced into those situations, whether it's I'm made to be tired before the spar, in the spar. And I think, like I said, that's what's going to translate, because one thing that any coach that's had me knows is that I can take information on well, and I can execute what I've been taught if it's right. So as I said, I think it'll show on this next fight anyway.
We are hearing as well in sparring that you are showing some lethal power. Do you think that the step up in weight is going to bring out the best of you, and you're going to use that power for stoppages, knockouts? Are we going to get the knockout Okolie?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's all mindset. Obviously, there's physical and technical thing, but I think with me getting knockouts, it's all mindset in the sense of like, go and get it, go and make it happen. Like, it's not, because a lot of my knockouts come from reaction. The guy throws like a bang and then they go. But it's like going and actually getting it. It takes a level of, as I said, commitment. It takes a level of, I'm gonna go to the fire and I'm gonna, come out the other side with a KO. So I do. Like I said, I do. That's what I want to show. I believe I'm gonna show. Obviously, I have to go and do it on the day. But definitely, I think. It's like this, and the thing is that I've always had power. That's something that's but I would choose not to, like, for example, in sparring. Okay, I'm gonna, as I said, coast. Okay, you okay? Where now I'm just like, actually, you know what? In a fight, I'm gonna be going 90 to 100% at any time. So let's practice now. So that's why I think the sparring's gone where it's going. Yeah,
replicating fight night in
the gym,
in the training. In terms of fight night, you don't make it easy for yourself. You like to step into the Lion's Den. You did it in Bournemouth. You're going to do it again now in Poland. Why? In Bournemouth, you didn't have to do it in Bournemouth, but you chose to do it. And, now in Poland, you're going to have the crowd against you. Do you thrive off that? Is that the reason that you want it?
I don't know about thrive. I think I'm going to thrive this time. I told myself you better thrive. But I think outside of that, it's more so, as I said earlier, it's just... I think that's the best way to approach boxing. It happened for me as an amateur and I got great rewards. I'm hoping to go to Poland and get, obviously, another world title. So that'd be a great reward. And I just think that when it's all said and done, the only thing that you can have for boxing is the money you made and the accolades that you sort of got. So why not go and chase those? And I also just don't think that obviously the crowd's important, but they can't fight for you if you're ready. So I just feel like if I'm locked in and I'm treating it as actual fight, and it's not a foregone conclusion, and I haven't won it yet, I have to go and grab it, I think it will show.
In terms of camp, this is your first camp being a father, right?
Yes.
How are you finding the balance of that?
Easy, because I don't have to do anything. Do you know what I mean? But I just FaceTime back home and whatever else. But it's obviously it's I get to see the development via video call and whatever else, but it's obviously not the same. But I do know, what I'm doing now is going to, pay dividends for him in the future. So
that's what I was going to say. It must be added motivation for you as well that you're fighting for him now as
well.
I
think it's a tough one because, like, obviously with the stuff that I've done outside of boxing, I don't really get the motivation from like money for him because I know that he's good. It's more so like ego for me, because I know eventually he's gonna one day know, oh, my dad was a boxer, let me search it up. And I want it to be like, oh, Lawrence was I was like undefeated, lost the world title, came back, went to Poland, beat this. So it's like, when you lose, what can you come back and do? So it's more that kind of thing. So I want him to look back and say, oh, my dad was a beast. That's more the motivation that I get than anything else. Yeah.
And obviously you are hoping to get the win next month out in Poland. We don't want to look past that, of course,
right.
But will you be staying at this weight? Will you be stepping up to heavyweight? What is kind of the path and the route that you're looking at?
I think I'll go to heavyweight eventually. It just depends on, as I said, the route that lays itself out in front of me. I think right now we're still building, like I'm losing some of the excess, what do you call it? Is it dad body? The excess dad body that I got over the time to get to obviously the bridgeweight, but we're still building up, more muscle and more strength. So when it is time to go to heavyweight, I'm in there like matching them for strength and power. So I think maybe have one. Obviously, as long as I win this fight, maybe have one two at this weight and then go up, but it depends what opportunities arise. Yeah.
And obviously, as you said there, it depends on what opportunities arise. But is there anyone in particular that you have your eye on? Somebody that you want?
As I said, the only one that really because box anyone. I think the only one that when people ask that, I just think is Dylan White, because obviously we had our little things, and he's a former like world level operator. I mean, he's boxed for a world title, only lost to like world champions, I think. So yeah, that would be a good sort of like, am I really ready for the top heavyweights? Let's see what Dylan White's saying.
And obviously Chris Billam-Smith, Richard Riapol has now been announced for June. Who do you see kind of winning that? And I know you've had back and forth with Riapol before.
It's a tough one, because I think on paper Chris should win, because obviously beating me, I'm better than Riapol, so you should beat him. Me and him are similar stature. And also Chris has had a way better run, you know, British, Commonwealth, Europe, like he's gone and actually boxed for belts and beaten like guys who wanted to win, where Riapol's career is pretty like subpar in terms of opponents and stuff like that. I think his best win's probably like a Glowatsky, who had coming off a long layoff and 2 concussive knockout losses. So it's tough. So he hasn't put in the fights to kind of for me to say he should beat Chris. However, obviously with the crack that me and Chris had, the cuts in his eye, the wear and tear, his last fight, it's like if he comes in fresh and ready and motivated, how he was when me and him boxed, he should beat Riapol quite comfortably. But if not, then Riapol has obviously the punching power and a bit of tenacity to maybe cause an upset.
Yeah. Do you have a preference of which one you would want to fight? Would you want to take on CBS again, or would you want to fight Richard with that bit of bad blood?
You know, like I just think, obviously with Chris, I expected to have a rematch, but for some reason it didn't happen, for whatever reason. So him winning doesn't do anything for me, because I don't believe that they would fight me at Bridgerweight. So probably Riapol just for that. But on a personal level, obviously I like Chris. I don't like Riapol, so I would want Chris to win. If I wasn't going to fight either of them, Chris. But if I believed one was more likely to fight me, I think it would be Riapol.